I just wanted to talk, rehash a little bit on key signatures and chords. So feel free to jump in and answer anything that I might be asking. But first and foremost, do we recall how to find out what key signature is our flat key signature in sort of a quick, short way? What would be second last? So what are we looking at here? D flat major. And for those playing at home, am I in D flat major? Does anyone want to challenge that? No challenge? All right, I'll look ahead a little bit. So remember how I spoke about tonality? Tonality is tonality refers to the color of the piece. Okay, so in a very basic term, the tonality can be sort of happy, cheery, bright, exuberant, triumphant, whatever. Tonality can also be kind of dark, sad, morose, those sorts of terms. So yeah, and you can start to think about them in major and minor. So major being that sort of uplifting, bright sound, and then minor being the sort of darker sound in a very sort of binary way. Now, I may be in D flat major, but I'm looking ahead to this piece, and the tonal center, which is to say where home is not D flat, because I'm looking at the first note. See what I'm looking at there? What are the first notes on the first beat? Yeah, B flat minor chord. So, and it's interesting because the accompaniment doesn't really have the B flat minor in it. It's split up, and we'll talk about that in a second. But come on. So the first note's a B flat in the right hand, and the left hand plays a low B flat. So it's got so good boys, when we're working out the lines, good boys. So that's the second line. And then if I worked backwards enough, I would then be able to work out that is an octave beneath it. Okay? So I go B. Quick way of seeing it. You know what? Eventually you get used to the shape. With time, with enough time and practice, like when I see a shape like that, when I see the space, that distance, I inevitably understand that it is an octave. But so with time and practice, but right now you kind of got to just painstakingly work your way down to that note until you find it. Because you can never be too careful. Sometimes it's not an octave. Sometimes it's like an 11th or a 12th or something, just because they're annoying. So I'd work backwards. That's my F. Each line and each space is a note. That's my E. That's my D. That's my C. And there's my B flat. How's everyone going with that from a conceptual perspective? Just understanding how I work that out. Yeah, so good boys deserve fruit. Oh. Yeah. There's malfunctioned. Yeah. Good boys deserve fruit always. It's good. Good boys deserve fruit always. And do you understand how I step down to that low note? Yeah, does that make sense? How I stepped back through the alphabet? Going backwards, and each line and each space is a letter. So I have to go through each letter. Good. Okay, so it's a slow process, but with time and practice, you get better at it. I've gone to the point where I see a note that is, one note beneath two ledger notes, I can safely say, yeah, cool, that's a B or a B flat, depending on the key signature. The key signature is a majority of the notes are flats, so I would then need to make sure that I'm playing a B flat and not B natural. And that's an octave. So if I want to sound a bit fancy, I will play the full octave. And then it's at a piano dynamic, so I don't want to play it too loud. Dynamics is always relative, okay? So it's really a matter of how you set the dynamics at the beginning of the piece and at the end of the piece that creates the difference between piano, mezzo, forte, whatever. A good musician will create a huge distinction between dynamics, so they have a lot to play with over the whole piece. So harmonically speaking, that note, the first beat doesn't have any color. And when they use the word color being tonality and tonality being major or minor, it's effectively just B flat. It's just B flat. Okay, it's just. But of course, the song kind of trucks on relatively quickly. So within a short period of time, as you can see on what beat does that next note in the accompaniment land on, the D flat? How would you describe it? 2 and. Yeah, 2 and or and of 2. Whatever you're feeling. So we get 1 and 3, 4. That's that rhythm there. 1 and 3, 4. So already we can see that the B flat minor chord is actually there in the first note, the second note, and the third note of the accompaniment. So that's what we call, that's when we refer to the chord as being arpeggiated. Okay, so an arpeggio is just a chord, but we play the notes in sequence apart from each other. That's a standard, just B flat minor arpeggio. Okay. Sometimes we refer to it as being played melodically. So sometimes when someone says play the interval melodically, we play the interval one and then the other. And then sometimes if you say play the interval harmonically, this is purely in sort of a more of a academic kind of sense. If they say harmonically, they'll play the interval together. Okay. Generally, that's only referred to dyads, and dyads being two note chords. So it's important. It's worth mentioning that most of the chords that we're working at the moment, from a basic fundamental perspective, are triads. Triads being 3 note per chord. A dyad technically isn't a chord. It's more referred to as an interval, but still worth noting that just the use of the terminology. Most of the chords that you'll come against are triads, and then once we build them, they start to become where you can sort of go through the sequence of words, but I just call them more extensions and more colorful chords as we add more notes to it. So the B flat minor chord is added in the accompaniment just by arpeggiating. Good sight reading, Daniele. And then the melody, I'm just going to shut down QuickTime because it's being a fool. Any questions, guys? Yeah. Yep. Yeah, so it's D flat major is correct. This song will actually begin, from my understanding, on a B flat to a B flat, but it's because it's the relative minor. So every major key has a relative minor. So yeah, there is an inherent relationship between the B flat and the D flat, and they're a minor third apart. So it's a really great question there. So the reason I ask, first I go, what's the key signature? But then sometimes that's not enough information. I need to then look at what's the first bar. Am I going to be in D flat, or am I going to be in the relative minor of D flat? From a key signature perspective, it's going to be the same. Because we're in the world of D flat, it's just that the focus, I think of it as like the focus lens on D flat has been shifted a little bit. And when we shift the lens a little bit, we get a different sound. And that's what we were touching on for those that were there in the intermediate class yesterday in terms of modes. All we're doing is shifting the lens somewhere else. As soon as I shift the lens somewhere else, the pattern of the notes change. And when I say the pattern of the notes, the relationship between the lowest note and the highest note is different. So, for example, if I was to play this with the D flat on the bottom, we get a completely different sound. It becomes all of a sudden quite a majory uplifting song, but it's B flat. That's our first chord. Okay, and this is quite a common chord progression, so we might touch on the pattern there as well. First and foremost, I will just touch on this the minim equals 88. Usually when we see tempo at the start of a piece, for a pop tune or whatever, it'll be a crotchet symbol, but this is saying minim, and also the time signature is in 2/2. So can someone help break down what that time signature means when it says 2/2? Yeah, great. How does everyone go with that? So 2 minims every bar. Yeah. And what's the difference, Jessica? Correct. It's yeah, but you notice how 2 minims and 4 crotchets are inherently the same, right? Because two minims at the end of the day are just 4 crotchets. So why don't they just say 4/4? It's crazy. I don't know. Yeah, correct. Anyone? What? Yeah, good. So when we have 2/2, well, actually, generally, when we have 4/4, generally speaking, the accent is on 2 and 4. Very general. Okay, not always, but generally speaking. When we have 2/2, generally the accent or the strong beat is going to be on 1 and 3. And actually, if you start to look a bit deeper, the phrasing of the piece can be delved into 2 sets of minims rather than when I talk about phrasing, rather than it being broken into 4 crotchets. Phrasing is generally a little bit broader and a little bit longer. And when we're counting the bar, rather than feeling it as in that's 4/4. I mean, I'm making a point here, but that's me really pulsing every crotchet beat. Party girls, don't get hurt, can't feel anything. Anyway, it gets it's a bit manic, and it's not really the nature of the song. If I go, party girl, don't can't feel anything, when will I learn? I push it down. I 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 3, 1, 3, and ba da 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 1. Sorry, piano's a bit delayed. And then, so when I'm counting the bars, I'm going to count them a little bit quicker than what I'm used to. A lot of people would look at this piece of music and go, 1 party goes, 1, 2, 3, 4. Because we know the song, we can sort of read it along a bit quicker. But when we get a song that's with 2/2 or in common time, which is also known as, especially in theatre, a lot of people say, I was playing in halftime or I was playing in double time, and before you know it, half the orchestra or whatever, or the ensemble has ended the song and half of them are still going, just because they interpret the beat a bit differently, and it's just a matter of like noticing it. If you notice you're in 2/2, you'll know it straight away. But a lot of people go, oh no, room 4/4. It also relies on having a good conductor to beat 2 beats in the bar, rather than 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Party girls, it gets a little bit manic, and is not really the feel of the song. Any questions on that? So they've gone an extra length to, they've used 2/2, but they've also dictated the minimum value. That is to say that if you sort of set a timer for 60 seconds, 88 is how many beats will occur within 1 minute. That's what a BPM is, beats per minute, which is tempo. Okay, so that's what that means. When you see minim equals 88, honestly, you could just go to a metronome app and hit 88 and then you'll work it out, that's fine. But in its rudimentary state, it does mean that if you set a timer for 60 seconds, or if you count 88 beats per 60 seconds, that's the tempo of the piece. And it uses the minim because it wants you to work out 1, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, and that's 88. Well, look, to be honest, probably isn't, but let's work it out. That's my version of 88. Ooh, she's crazy. Sorry. You can tell I've been doing really intense practice. 1 Eanda, 2 Eanda.
1, 2, 3, 4.
The G flat major 7. Tum, 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 tum. There's my 88. And so if you guys playing at home, just got a metronome out. I just hit 88 and I'm there. G flat major 7. Yeah, this song's great because the key signature's not very common, so it actually is a good challenge. Do you want to tell me what's in the chord, Alinta? G flat. Awesome. Major 7. Yeah. So those playing at home, a major 7 is just a semitone beneath the octave up. That's the quickest way to work it out. You just go work out an octave, and then you just minus a semitone. That's your major 7, okay? Otherwise, if you're really familiar with your major scales, then if I played G flat major, that's going to be my major 7, okay? But yeah, that dissonance is really important. That sort of very angular sound. Now it sounds a bit strange by itself. That's the major 7 interval, also known as a dyad. But if I play it in its full kind of, I don't know, capacity, I guess. But, yeah. Yeah. Oh wait, the modes, sort of touching on the modes and stuff. I went on dominant chords and 2s and 5s, didn't I? Yep. In terms of voicing. Yeah, no, that's right. So when I use the word voicing, for those playing at home, it's sort of just my way of saying, when I see the chord, what do I play? You know, what do I play? You know, in a very theoretical sense, I can just play G flat. I can just play the chord, right? But for those that are wanting to kind of expand it just a little bit and make it sound like you're actually accompanying yourself rather than just hitting the chord, a particular voicing that I just went to before. Now this is purely taste, right? It's just a voice that I went to was. This is a bit cheeky of me, but I went 1, 5, and then I went 3. That's quite a stretch, but I rolled it. Can you guys see that in the left hand? So that's my G flat major chord, but I've spread it out because if I play a G flat major too close together in the left hand, it just gets a bit muddy. But I've got my scale degree 1, scale degree 5, and scale degree 3. So you can actually write these down as well. You can often if I was working in my piano lesson with my teacher, I'd just write left hand. My computer's being super slow. It'll come up, hopefully. What did I write? 1, 3. No, it's not 1, 3, 5. It's 1, 5, 3. Sorry guys, it's being a bit buggy. I usually have a notebook out and just start writing those numbers out. So I've just written 1, 5, and 3, and then write it vertically because 1's going to be the lowest note, 5's going to be above that, and 3 is going to be above that. That's quite a wide voicing. I wouldn't recommend it for everyone. To be honest, a 1, 5, 1 would also be really sweet. In my right hand, though, my right hand's going to want to be the coloured hand, which is to say, that didn't sound quite right, did it? It's going to want to play any chord extensions that are above the 5. Now, in my G flat major 7, the coloured tone is very much the 7. Like, I'm very excited about the 7. I want to spell out the 7. I want the 7 to be there, having a good time. Okay, so I'm actually going to play. I'll go back to my 1, 5, 3. That's my left hand. In my right hand, I'm going to play 7. And just because I feel like it, I'm going to play 7 the octave up. Okay? Can you see that? And also, just because I feel like it, I'm going to add the 3 in my right hand. And then I've got quite a colourful, juicy chord. And you can actually follow that pattern, say to an A flat. Sort of getting a little bit advanced here. Yeah, I'm playing it. I'm playing it as an octave in my right hand. To be honest, the melody already kind of is based around the 7. As you can see, Party Girls Don't Get Hurt. That's all based around the 7 of G flat, but it depends what chord's playing underneath it. As soon as the note changes, it's going to change. Friends, I'm going to just leave a couple minutes before our next session because I kind of want to reboot my screen share and stuff because it's being a bit buggy. But we'll start back up at 12:30 anyway, so feel free to, I don't know, hang out, practice. I just became aware of this burn that I was cooking at lunch. I was cooking lunch yesterday, and everything was really hot, and I burnt myself. And that's a story that I'm telling you guys. I am using a separate program called ScreenFlow, and